to Manchester United 2 and a complete bottle job from Manchester United. Spurs, listen, I'm going to give them their credit for fighting back in the second half. They pressed harder. They deserve their goals. I'm not going to take anything away from them. But Man United had this game in the palm of their hands, and a disgraceful decision by the team to play in second gear at the beginning of the second half, try and slow the game down, try and nullify it instead of going for the kill, going for Tottenham throats, getting that third goal and ending it. And it's an embarrassment. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. An embarrassing result for Man United tonight after being relatively comfortable in that first half, having a 2-0 lead. Sancho started the game brilliantly. Rashford getting his goal, ending his mini 4-game goal drought. Bruno looking really good in the middle. Luke Shaw at centre-back looking majestic. But then again, unlike a lot of fan bases that can't own their team's poor performances, we came out in the second half, and I put this on the players to begin with. They just came out and were passing the ball around too slowly. There wasn't enough movement. They were playing like we'd won the game. There was complacency from these players. They get a goal back, and I actually think inexplicably we made changes too early. I know we played extra time and penalties the other day, but we started to move the ball again pretty quickly, pretty well. Bruno had an excellent chance to go 3-1 up. Inexplicable miss from him, but the movement and the play was good. And you think, right, we can just do that. And then he brings on Fred, and he brings on Weghorst, and he brings on Martial. And I have to say, those three stank. They stank like rotten 4-day-old horse manure. It reeked, bruv. It was like a dead body farting at a funeral. It was absolutely putrid, the performance from those three. Fred must have given the ball away. Unforced error 5, 6, 7 times from him. Abysmal. Weghorst offering little to nothing. Really at shock as to why Sabitzer didn't come onto the football pitch. Anthony Martial the same. We moved Rashford out of the set striker role, and I put this on Ten Hag. The player started the second half poorly. The subs, Rashford was killing it down the middle. His hold-up play was great. He was bringing people into the game. He had the centre-backs on toast. Why are you taking him out of that position? Catastrophic substitutions, and it's not the first time. And it's something that Ten Hag, it's a weakness in Ten Hag's game this season. I understand what he's trying to do, but I think he's put a little bit too much faith in players that don't have the ability or capability anymore, or maybe a bit of both, to be able to handle it. And for me, you watch what Newcastle did tonight. 1-0 up, went 2-0 up, went 3-0 up. They conceded a goal, went and got a fourth. Yeah, I don't know if they got, I know that they got a fifth and they got taken off, but they went for it. Man United have done this far too often this season. We're poor or we're not leading in the first half. Second half, we come out, we do quite well, typically. If we're leading after the first half, the amount of drop-offs we have is unbelievable. It's a big weakness in this team, and a large part of that is on the players. But recently, Ten Hag hasn't got his substitutes right regularly enough. Just like the Newcastle game, he got them wrong tonight. He brought on the wrong people at the wrong moments. And essentially, United wouldn't have secured top 4 tonight. But to be 9 points ahead of Tottenham, 8 points ahead of Villa with 2 games in hand, you would feel very comfortable. There is still a 6-point gap. So there's still a big gap for Man United. It's not the end of the world. At home against Aston Villa on Sunday, there needs to be a reaction. What we saw in the first half is what we need for 70, 80, 90 minutes and to kill the game off. We really do. I'm so frustrated, angry, and disappointed at the players tonight after what was such a good start to this game. And the manager does deserve his criticism. The manager does deserve to be ridiculed tonight. That's as far as I'll go. The guy's allowed to make mistakes. We know why he struggles sometimes. He makes subs for the right reasons, but he doesn't have that personnel. And I get, look, if he wouldn't have made those subs and we'd have burned out, we'd have said, why didn't you make those substitutions? I just think he needs to be a little more careful. Sabitzer over Fred for me is a move I would have made. I would have put Sabitzer in the 10, Bruno back in that holding role, which he's done so well in. And I know AWB was on a yellow card, but Malacia offers so little. So little. He really does. And, you know, he's a player that I think we're talking about bringing in a new right back. I think we need to look at bringing in potentially another left back, because Luke Shaw, I actually prefer at centre back. I think he's really good, but he might have to cover there at times. The left back area is where we're weak because Malacia ain't it. He hasn't really got any pace. He hasn't really got a pass. So he comes on and then you isolate who's ever on that left-hand side. So yeah, just really, really poor from United tonight. And I know a lot of people say I'm not giving Tottenham enough credit. But if we come out in that second half and we keep our finger upon their neck, the foot upon their neck, I don't think they come back like that. We sat back. We were lackadaisical. You could hear the commentators saying, oh, United are trying to slow the play down. Why? How we don't have, when you don't have Eriksen on the pitch, suddenly you're passing from Fred to Weghorst. How are we going to hold the ball and slow the game down? It's ridiculous from him. It really is ridiculous from me. Super chat here says, Terry, on behalf of Spain, which I am not Spanish. I'm sorry we produced David, and on behalf of Portugal, we would like to reimburse you for Bruno Fernandes. This team is going to beat Man City. Listen, on this form, we won't. We don't want a refund for David De Gea, because David De Gea has been a brilliant goalkeeper for Man United over the past 12 years. He's been phenomenal at times. So I did know that. Listen, and Bruno missing that chance again. I'm not him missing that chance. I'm not even that angry with the play after it was my issue. You know, he'll get criticised for that, and rightfully so. But do you know how many other chances he created tonight? Do you know how good, he was very good up until the team lost its shape again. So yeah, I don't want a refund for Bruno Fernandes, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. But thank you very much, Debbie. Terry, we bottled it. Erik Ten Hag cost us like a loss. Yeah, I've called that out, my friend. I swear I would drive Kane to Manchester if Marcus Rashford was coming the other way. What a player. Listen, Kane was brilliant. They gave him man of the match tonight, and I think he really helped drive Spurs on in that second half. Get Kane to Manchester United. That's all I'm saying. And if we've got Kane and Rashford up there, we're going to rip some teams apart. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. Both excellent tonight. Like I said, Erik Ten Hag ain't it. I also players are pussies. Well, we know we need to move players on, but as I've said before, I'm not writing Erik Ten Hag off in his first season. I want to wait for him to build his squad. We allowed Pep and Fergie, and we allowed Klopp and a magnitude of other managers to be able to do it. He didn't take over a team that had been winning recently. You know, it isn't like a team, you know, narrowly missed out on winning the Prem or had won a Premier League a year ago, and it needs, you know, this is a guy that's going to take time. But I will criticize his mistakes. Ty, I think you're wrong for wanting him sacked, but I get what people do. You'll go really early to say, I don't think he's good enough. You're hedging your bets. I know what you're doing there, my friend. Terry, this is weird. At Ajax, the second half with Ten Hag was always levels above the first half. Mentality problem. I think there is a mentality problem with some of these players. Like I said, I don't believe he told the players to go out there in the second half and take your foot off the gas. The problem that he's got, he's making these substitutes. I think he's making the right decisions tactically in his mind, but I don't think he has the facilities for it, big man. To get these decisions don't always work. You know, and Fred's gone back into a slump again. Fred's one of these players at Man United whom will have a month, 2 months where you're like, wow, look at him go. And then he drops back to this. It's why when people try to say him or McTominay, they're the same thing. They're average at the elite level of the game. We know what Weghorst is. We know Martial's over the hill. In the summer, when we improve this squad, I don't think you'll see as many substitution mistakes because he'll have better personnel to play with. That's how I think it's going to go personally. So I think that's what it is. That's my view. Viewers, obviously, rivals will say, no, he's shit, which is going to be the default response, which I get. I haven't even looked at the comments, and I know that's what you're saying. Try harder. There's a notebook. There's a pen. Try harder with saying better than that, but that's what I think. I'm annoyed with the second half acting like the job is done. We want to start playing at 2-2. Pathetic. You see why Fred hasn't been playing often. Yeah, absolutely. It's why it's a weird. He probably did it for more energy, so I get it. But it was definitely a mistake there. Equally with Tottenham, they go 2-2, 10 minutes left. They're in the ascendancy, and they fucking stop playing again. That was. I'm sitting here as a United fan going, thank God they're not trying to win the game, because we were on the ropes, legitimately on the ropes. And if you're a Spurs fan tonight, you're probably thinking, I'm happy with a comeback, but why then sit back at 2-2? Legitimately, it's weird. Both teams tonight were weirdos. Proper weirdos. Check the hard drive, boss. Erik Ten Hag bottled a 3-goal lead in 2019 versus Spurs. Hashtag improved. His team did collapse at that point. A very young Ajax team did throw that away. But by your lot, I've seen Pep Guardiola throw away a 2-0 lead at home against Manchester United when he was about to win the league title. I've seen Pep Guardiola's Man City bottle how many Champions League games? So is that indicative of Pep Guardiola's career that he's a bottle job? I've seen Jurgen Klopp lose 9 finals on the bounce. Does that mean he has no capabilities of getting over the line in future? Again, this football fans, we've got to push back against this. Criticism is key, but sweeping statements 10 months into someone's tenure is crazy. It's crazy, my friend. If you think he's a bottle job, stand by it. But he did win a final this year, and he's come from behind to win this year. And this Man United team will get better. Newcastle United picking up at the right time next season is going to be unreal. I want to say, by the way, they were brilliant tonight. Alexander Isak's, I mean, he doesn't get the assist because it deflected. But my days, the skill, it looked like the ball was stuck to his foot. Ridiculous tonight from him. Why didn't Ten Hag never brought on Palestri and Sebi? I'm disappointed with him. Yeah, and I'm the same as you. I'm very disappointed with him tonight in relation to that performance, mate. I couldn't agree any more with you if I tried. He was poor. He was absolutely poor. Terry, top 4. I mean, you're laughing. Yeah, I still think Man United got a great chance of making the top 4. If we don't, then we've achieved what everybody expected at the start of the season. If we do, what are you going to say then, winner, Paul? Like, as I say, I'm going to criticize, but I think we'll beat Villa at the weekend at home. Our home form has been imperious. Brighton away, I've actually written that off as a loss because I think they're so good at home and our away record is a bit sketchy at the moment. But I think we can beat West Ham. The West Ham are almost in a position where they're looking like they might be safe soon. So I'm confident with that. We've got Chelsea at home, which right now is almost a guaranteed 3 points. So, yeah, and I think that Spurs and Villa will all drop points and Liverpool will drop points in the run-in. So I'm not panicking. I'm just criticizing tonight, my friend. I'm not doing the whole polarized stuff of one, I'm not going to be like Tom Little that last week wants Klopp sacked. This week he thinks Klopp's going to win 7 on the bounce. I'm not going to sit here and do that. That would be a little bit strange behavior, in my opinion. KJ, Omar is saying we missed his super chat. I didn't see that one starred, bro. If you could maybe scroll back and try and find that for us. This is from Abs, who says, Terry, I'm a Man United fan, and I think Casemiro was shocking, sloppy passing. Yeah, Casemiro has had 4, 5, 6 bad games. He looks off the pace. He looks lethargic. Looks like there's something wrong with him. He's just out of form. But this is the problem with squad depth at Man United. Who can we bring in that's any good to replace him? No one. So, this is the difference between us and a lot of, the elite clubs who have built brilliant squads over a period of time. We don't have that backup. That's what this summer transfer window is about, Abs, is around having that. So you can go, right, Casemiro's in bad form. We can bring in another top-class player. We haven't got that luxury right now. But you're right about him. You absolutely are. The football gods teaching us mercy for enjoying last night. Not melting down, though. Our squad isn't capable of 2 good halves consistently. Erik Ten Hag is cooking in general. Villa is must-win. Yeah, Villa's a massive must-win game now. Sorry, can you put that back up for me, KJ? I saw you put it up just as I clicked on the other one. Sorry. Top 4 isn't in reach. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think Omar is a Liverpool fan. Listen, it's there. You're what you off now? You're Man United got a game in hand over you, and you're 7 points behind us. A game in hand is Brighton, though, away. So we'll probably lose that 7-point swing. You could do it if Man United really collapse, but we'll see what happens. I mean, Man United collapsing now is literally the only fun left in the Premier League this year. Everyone says the title race is over. Newcastle was secure. So that's it. All anyone's watching is Man United games between now and the end of the season. So we'll see what happens there. A game of 2 halves, Terry. Spurs absolutely crap and then became alive in the second half. I hear you there, Jerome. But thank you very much. Right, I'm going to bring my panel out now. I've never seen this many fucking people backstage after a Man United game. I know we played Tottenham, so that's different. So make sure you stay with us, people. Smash the like and the share button. I want to say we're also giving away 2 tickets to the FA Cup final. You could enter the raffle now. We're also giving you £250 spending money with that scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in our description below if you want to go and enter. Unlimited amount of entries that you can have. And thank you to everybody so far that has participated with it. I'm going to bring out my people now. Let's do this.
You're muted again, Terry.
Sorry. Computer keeps doing this. It's getting weird at the minute. StreamYard's acting mad. There we go. I think we've got everyone. There's a few more backstage. We'll try and bring some people out. KJ, first of all, what you saying, bro?
These men are unserious, bro. I'm tired, man. 2-0 leads and we bottle it again against this Spurs side in the first half, who just said, just take us and have your way with us. That's what they said. We should have been 3-4-0 up in that first half, but no, these guys were playing at their speed. They were slowing the game down. They were making it easy for them. And the fact we scored 2 goals was flattering. We should have scored more, but no, these guys don't want to do that. And I don't know what Eric Ten Hag said. Maybe you're speaking Dutch. Maybe he's speaking another language, because as soon as these guys went out, the first couple of minutes, you knew Spurs were going to make a comeback. Because they come out after 2-0 thinking they've done. Game done, chilling, it's calm, and they make mistake after mistake after mistake, and I'm tired of it. I thought the mentality was changing, but there's still something lingering, and it needs to, I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired. It needs to get rooted out. Whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whatever it is, this mentality of we've done enough for today needs to stop. Because you think we're winning the FA Cup playing like that? We are not winning the FA Cup playing like that. We will get absolutely destroyed playing like that. These players need to look at themselves and be like, what do they want to be? Do they just want to be a cup team that is satisfied with top 4? We may even miss out if they keep playing like this. Or do they actually want to step up and go get another trophy, and then also push on next season to be one of the best teams in the league and challenge for the title? That's up to them, because the coach clearly wants it. I don't know if these guys do. Some of them anyway. Some of them don't want it. Tired, Terry. Tired.
I hear you on that completely. I agree. There is an issue at Man United still in terms of mentality. It isn't where we want it to be right now, and it needs to be called out, and it needs to be criticized, and it needs to be looked at in the summer, because it's embarrassing. This Spurs team at the moment is shocking, and I can see George laughing over there, and he should be, because Man United tonight bottled it, and it's as simple and straightforward as that. But like I always say, unlike a lot of fans at a lot of clubs, I've got a big enough pair of bollocks, and it's a pretty big pair of bollocks as I get older. It keeps growing for some reason. To say it's as simple and straightforward as that. But George, of course, from your point of view, happy with the draw, but still a weird game for Tottenham.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly that. And the most annoying thing about this is, because Tottenham are so bad, why does 1 point feel like 3 points now? Like, I'm out here looking at this draw and I'm like, shit, man, we got something. We walked away with something today. That's how bad it is. But like you mentioned earlier, Terry, we got the goals back after missing chance after chance after chance. And then we sat off. We sat off for the last 10 minutes, and it's just confusing. It's like neither team wanted to win. Both teams already looked like the first half was typical Spurs. We just don't turn up. No backbone. The defense is just open as it always is. And Man United created chance after chance. And then we come out the second half, new team, probably the best half of football we've played in a while, probably since the Man City game. To me personally, that's the best half of football we played. It was on your neck. We should have scored 3, potentially 4. But again, it's just a lack of mentality, a lack of passion, and the Tottenham players they do the same thing over and over to us. So yeah, look, we walk away with a point. It's something happy. We didn't really expect to go and get anything from this game, but it was sort of given to us. I feel like Man United showed a lack of desire. You guys, like KJ said, we were speaking before the game, me and KJ said, and we said, look, we probably think this will be a draw because of how both of these teams are at the moment. You don't really know what to expect. They're both up and down. And yeah, this game literally just showed where we're both at this moment in time. I feel like the season's done for both of us. Maybe not Man United yet, because you still have a final to play for, of course. But with regards to the actual league, I feel like the players are getting comfortable knowing that you're going to finish top 4. So they sort of just took that step off the gas at the moment. So it is what it is. We walk away with a point. We're kind of happy with that, but the team's still where it is, and there's still a lot of holes and a lot of problems that we all know about.
No, mate, I hear you, and it's one of those ones tonight where, as Spurs fans, there's probably an element of I want to laugh at Man United, but at the same time, it's like that last 10 minutes, I'm sitting there trying to be neutral, like thinking about what I'm going to say in the game, and I'm like, why the fuck are they sitting back? We're on the ropes. It's like, you know, in boxing, someone gets caught and their legs are gone like chicken legs and they're jelly. It's like just standing back for the rest of the fight and throwing out a little jab. It wouldn't make any sense to me. And just to answer Prime's question, I didn't tempt the football gods by saying we would batter Tottenham. What I said is I'm confident that we should be able to beat them, but I'm not going to run my mouth up. So I definitely didn't say that today on the show.
No, you know who it was? It was flipping Neeks, bro. That guy in the group chat said it was finished at 2-0 at half-time.
Stop.
Neeks,
when are people going to realize?
Again.
Listen. We've got to make this stuff catch on online. All the TikTokers and people that write games off at halftime and do it. I do it for Judge sometimes. Football gods are real. Like, fate is real. Don't tempt fate. It's a madness. If you get in your car and drive it, saying I'm not going to crash. I'm not going to crash. I guarantee you'll have an accident. Don't fucking try it, you morons. But I guarantee you will. You put it in the universe. Stop this bullshit. Be fucking humble until you win. Then do the bantering. Neeks, I love you, but fucking stop.
He even said famous last words. He knows what he's saying.
It's twice he's done it now in 2 weeks. In a week.
I'm tired of him.
I love you, but it's your fault. I want to speak to Miss United. How are you?
Good. Besides the result, because that was annoying. Being 2-0 up and then just like throwing it away like after the first half and then those subs, like it just made no sense. And so I'm aggravated, but if we play like that in the first half during the FA Cup, it's a good sign. But that second half, that can't be. And to me, it just underscores again like the gap in depth, the gap in quality when it comes to depth and how much we need to invest. And we've needed to invest in years. We're a little better now, but from Wan-Bissaka bossing it versus for the first half versus Delo in the second half, completely night and day. And we can't be having that because you saw what happened, the back post again. And so that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, no, I get you completely. The first half to the second half, I mean, Spurs fans probably feel exactly the same way. It was just completely not night and day. Young Daniels here is a Spurs fan. What do you make of it, mate? No, so you look so much more grown up last night with your chest out, your Elvis hairstyle. Like you looked about 3 or 4 years older. Just saying. But anyway, how you feeling? You're on mute, by the way, brother.
Yeah, I just realized. It's crazy that Man United didn't win this off that first half by itself. Throughout the whole game, I think we dominated. We had more chances. Personally, I think that we could have won this game. But at the end of the day, yeah, I can banter you because you've bottled it to the bottlers. That is embarrassing. However, this point doesn't mean anything to me. Matter of fact, this point means that our season is completely over now. Because mathematically, it's almost impossible to even get top 4. So people celebrating this point, for me, it's a bit embarrassing. But at the same time, I didn't really expect, I spoke to you last night, Terry. I didn't really expect Tottenham to win this game or draw. I thought we were going to get battered by United. But you've bottled it to the bottlers. And to be fair, it was nice to see Son score. But for me, the highlight of the day was to see the Levy out protests, which were very, very loud, by the way. But no, yeah, you've bottled it. You've absolutely bottled it. Embarrassing. That is criminally embarrassing. I'm just going to leave it there, man.
Listen, I hear you. I feel that way. Sunshine's here. Bro, it doesn't feel as bad as last Thursday against Sevilla, but Thursday night football is killing us right now.
Oh, bro. Ross to the clot. That's all I can say. We scored 2 goals. We may as well finish the game there, bro. Because we can't score more than 2 goals anywhere, home or away. It's just, I don't know, man. Ten Hag did the same against Seville, made stupid subs early. He don't kill games off. We've done it too many times this season, man. And I agree Tottenham could have won in that half, but I think if you go 3-4-0 in the first half, I don't think Tottenham win the game at all. I think they shut down even more. They're mentally gone. But I did say it yesterday on the stream. I said, you know, if there could be a chance to get a draw here, just for the simple fact that we are complacent. We don't have mentality monsters in this squad. We don't have it. We just don't. And I know people may get sick and tired of, you know, the mentality side of things, but I'll just put it out there, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, if you don't, big up Neeks as well. You got a big you got a big paycheck to earn, bro. But anyway, yeah, it's just disheartening, man, because you can't be going in 2-0 up and then struggling to see it out. It's the complacency for me, Terry. I don't. It's I have to wheel back just a little before someone else goes and just understand that there's a process at hand here, and I don't think, although I don't respect Ten Hag for his decisions again, and I do agree with you in the sense of I can see why he's trying to make those subs. I just don't think that right now is a chance to write off Ten Hag. Of course, rival fans will, but right now I couldn't see a Pep, a Klopp, or any Tuchel or Nagelsmann coming into this United squad at the start of the season and doing what he has done to give us an opportunity to even be where we are. And there's only a certain type of personality that could have done what was needed at United. So I'm not going to write off the season, but like you said, he has to take some criticism. And that Ross Clark Vegos, man, like brethren, like your passion was great for the first 10 games, man, and then you done one slide tackle and then got gassed, and then what? Like, come on, man, this guy, bro, he's a lamppost, man. He's a lamppost.
If we're gonna go for workhorse, you need to chat to Martial and Malacia, innit?
Bro,
first,
listen.
but first,
it's just because
Neeks.
KJ, hold up, bro. Just because I talk about one player doesn't mean I don't realize other players. I'm just on one player at the moment.
No, I'm not.
We ain't
I'm
got
not
time
saying
to
you
go for
don't-
every other player, but
No. I'm not saying you don't realize, bro. I'm not saying you don't realize other players were bad. I'm just adding on to what you're saying.
yeah,
but I don't care about. I don't care about this.
Like,
Innit? Listen,
anyone can get
Neeks.
smoke if necessary. Yeah, do it. Like, it's,
Neeks,
I ain't gonna go
answer
against
for your
facts, but
crimes, bro.
yeah.
Listen. I can't stay long in it. My laptop's down. That's why.
Anyone got any holy water? There's some holy water to throw on my screen right now.
But
Flipping Neeks, man.
okay, listen, first and foremost, let's not try and blame me for this. Like, don't listen to Terry about football. Let's not talk about footballing gods. And forget all that nonsense. Malacia out of position. Yeah. Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka end up on yellow card. Lindelof could have got sent off. And Ten Hag made some subs. Fred can't pass a ball. And we threw a 2-0 lead. I was not out on that pitch. Like, so let's leave that for 1 second. But the only reason I say what I say to counter KJ is because KJ is, I won't say he's negative about Man United because he's not. But his outward projection of Manchester United is very negative. And for the banter of it, I just do the complete opposite. So, for example, we finished the game. Cage is like, "There's no way we're winning the FA Cup this season."
Playing like this.
And for me, I'm like, we're beating Man City. Because we have to beat Man City. I can't go through the rest of the season between now and June the 3rd thinking that Man City are winning the treble. So I have to put some positivity out there, because if I don't, I'm going to cry myself to sleep. Like, yes, we progress on the Ten Hag and but we're Man United and we're sitting in 4th. And I'm not saying we're fighting for top 4, but, you know, we're in a little tussle. There's a little bit of tussle going on for top 4. And I'm not happy about that. We got knocked out of the Europa League. I'm not happy about that. We ain't challenging for the major trophies. I'm not happy about that. But I can't just be negative. And again, I'm not saying KJ is overly negative about Man United, but any little that I see out there, I'm going to counter it. So I'm going to keep doing it, KJ. And if these guys want to keep throwing away 2-0 leads, and you want to put on me, so be it. Because I ain't my fault. Let me say about the game quickly, before I go. People, obviously, the first thing that a lot of people are going for is the subs, and I'm someone who's big on personal responsibility, and I think throughout time, and it's not just with Ten Hag, it's previous managers as well, from Jose, LVG, Oli. People are very quick to go for the manager before looking at players. We were giving up chances all game, you know. So, like, we were 2-0 up at half time, but Spurs had openings all game. Before Rashford scored that goal, didn't Perisic just have a chance? Like, it could have been 1-1.
Missed that header from the 6-yard.
No, that was at 2-0. But I'm saying before Rashford even made it 2-0, they were having chances down both our flanks. So At what point do we say these starters are not doing their job despite the score being 2-0 and we have to make the changes? Now, of course, you can question what those changes are, but what are the options? Fred coming on for me makes 100% sense, but Ten Hag don't bring him on and tell him pass every ball to the opposition and lose out every 50-50. Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka on yellow cards, both of them. As I said, Lindelof could have been sent off. Do you keep both of them on when the attacks, Perisic having the freedom of Tottenham, the freedom of N17 down that left-hand side, and we're going to keep both of them on for one of them to get sent off? He had to make those changes. Who do you bring on? Elanga. When Elanga came on the other day, everyone cussed him. When he makes his changes too late, everyone cussed him. There's a limited amount of things that he can actually do. And the reality was, before the subs, we had already lost control of the game. We had already given a goal up. And after the subs, we'd never regained control of the game. So do we blame the subs as the main reason? Or do we actually look and say, from minute one, despite going 2-0 up, why were the players so laboured? Because even at 2-0 at halftime, I said in the group chat, we are giving up way too many chances to Spurs, and I don't like it. So those goals will always come in, subs or no subs. So for me, I put George on the players. But those players didn't do well.
You have a point when it comes to, personal responsibility of the players, but you have to, think about the tactical, inflexibility. If like you're saying that the game was already gone the second half before the subs came in, what does that then say about Ten Hag's tactical flexibility and adjusting in game and changing what the players are actually supposed to be doing? Because first half, phenomenal. But if, we're seeing, say like Wan-Bissaka bossing it first half, actually.
No, but sorry, quickly. I disagree. We weren't phenomenal first half. I think the scoreline fools a lot of people. We were not phenomenal first half.
It was much more controlled, though. You know what I'm saying? It was much more controlled. Like the dominant side was Manchester United rather than Spurs, is what I'm saying. And so in that, you have to see, what's working here, what's not working here. If they figured out after halftime what we're doing that's working and they're nullifying that, we need to then adjust, say 50, 60 minutes in. Instead of saying, let's change the players and keep the same thing that they're doing going. Because that's not going to work, obviously, if the people who were doing better weren't doing, well anymore. Maybe it's, the tactics that needs to change in that. And I'm a big Ten Hag fan. I'm not saying, Comfort has said this and that, because that's just stupid. But, we need to examine these things and looking at them. But also, like I was saying earlier, it's changing the subs and saying, like, hey, no one told him to go pass it to the other team 800 times. No one told Whitehorse to get into the way of Fred's shot. Things like that. Those are on the players. Those are things that happen. But it's also, who they are. It's who they are. They need to be replaced at some point in time. Like Weghorst, he's not staying. Delo, he doesn't need to go. Fred, we need to cash in on him while his capital is high. And so these are things we need to see, like, why is there a drop off in quality when we do sub these people in? And is it down to their own decision making? Is it down to their inherent qualities? Is it down to what they're being told to do? These are things that need to be asked.
Let me get my say, because I gotta go anyways. I just want to touch on this part where everyone's asking if it's the personnel and the tactics. Here's my issue today, and this is the first time all season that I'm really angry at Ten Hag, because I'm a big Ten Hag advocate. Everyone who knows me knows that. I've been so big on him this season, but there's been way too many times where this mistake where we go away and we make the wrong changes and it costs us the game. People are sitting here saying, oh, well, he didn't tell Fred to miss the pass, the misplace all these passes. He didn't tell Malacia to be out of position. I understand all that. But when you change the personnel and it's not like for like, that means you have to change the tactics with it. We did not for any point today change the tactics when we changed the personnel. And this is what had me confused, because Neeks, I was talking about it in the chat. We brought on the first sub we made. We brought on Martial for Sancho. When you bring on Martial for Sancho, that's a possession-based player for another possession-based player. It shows you that you want to stick to what you were doing in the first half. Okay, the intensity dropped. I get that, but it shows that you're not trying to change your tactics. Then you go on 10 or 15 minutes later, you bring on Weghorst, Fred, and Malacia for who did we bring off? Eriksen, Anthony, and Wan-Bissaka. I understand Wan-Bissaka had a yellow, so I kind of understand that. If he wasn't on a yellow, I would have kept him, because I trust Wan-Bissaka in the last 10 minutes of the game to do a defensive job on Son than Delo, which proved it, because Delo was 10 yards away from behind Son when he scored that goal. So the reason I'm blaming Ten Hag is that you made these changes, but you still tried to keep the ball. There's a difference when you have Fred and Casemiro and Bruno in the midfield, and when you have Eriksen, because Eriksen is there to keep the ball. Fred is not there to keep the ball. If you're bringing on Fred and Weghorst, it means you're saying, listen, we're going to do more running off the ball. Just don't be that high up the pitch anymore. Because when you pass into these players, you know one of like every 2-3 passes is going to be misplaced. Whereas when you have Eriksen or someone else, you're keeping the ball. So bringing these players on and still playing high up the pitch as you did, everyone knows how Spurs plays. The minute you give them the ball, they're playing that ball in the back where you have Kane drifting to the right or to the left. He's going to try to play a ball in for Kulusevski, who came on, or Son for the goal that he did. Our fullbacks were way too high up the pitch in that last 20 minutes after we made the changes, because Malacia always loses his head. Positionally, he's not as good as Shaw. So when you don't have Shaw on that left back and you have him there, you have to tell him, listen, I'm bringing you on right now because we're winning 2-1 and it looks we're going to concede. I don't want you that high anymore. In the first half, we were playing high because we had more of the ball. Right now, they're waiting. They're like, every chance they get, they're like this and hitting us on the counter. And they could have scored 2-3 before that even happened. And just the positional awareness of these players and the tactical, like there was no tactical changes at all. And that's the part that's just like, I'm absolutely baffled by Ten Hag by, because no way you should be going away again from home and being so naive, especially in the Premier League. It shows how naive he is in the Premier League still, and how this first year is such a learning curve for him. Because next year, if we're going away to certain teams and we can't put them away like we did today, this team just conceded 6 3 days ago. 6. These guys came on with a smile today because they knew they didn't lose. These Spurs fans are not used to it. They've been losing for a while. They just got battered 6. And we're letting them back in the game in the second half just because they had more passion. They have nothing to play for.
But Staffy, let me give you an example why I like to press on about personal responsibility. We're 2-0 up. I don't think we're in complete control of the game, but we're 2-0 up. And we're still trying to play the ball quick, direct forward. Even when it comes into the likes of Eriksen, Bruno, these one-touch passes trying to get into the front people. We're 2-0 up, you know. All you have to do at that point is slow the game down. You drag that game out. Because what are you playing for? Goal difference. We're on like +9. Like, what are we doing at that point? When we go 2-1, when they get one back, 2-1, then the players start slowing the game down. But Spurs have got the momentum now. So for me, and that obviously the crowd's behind them, for me, that also comes down to the personnel on the pitch. Why can you not manage the game at 2-0 that the manager is then forced to bring on weaker players off the bench? But what's the other option? Because especially with the Dallo, with the Dallo, yeah. But what does he do? Does he keep Eriksen on?
I
Because
feel like you guys are scapegoating some of these subs because one of your worst performers in that second half was Casemiro. Let's be honest.
100%.
Time and time again, and he didn't really help Fred come into that game and really get comfortable in the midfield because every time he was on the ball, every time the ball came to him, he was losing all the 50-50s. And it looked like he'd pretty much given up in the game because there was time when Skip was getting back on him, Kane was getting back on him, they'd win the ball and he'd just turn around.
I agree with you, but we don't have that time to talk about every individual today. There's so many.
But George is right. George is right.
No,
the context of what George is saying is not even about picking out all the individuals. I think the point is the starters gave Spurs back the game. It wasn't the subs never regained control of the game because they're not that good. But the starters gave the game back.
I agree with that. I said in my review at the beginning, we came out in the second half with lackadaisical. The subs didn't work for me either. And of course, there is personal responsibility, but a manager is still judged by who he brings on as well. And I think that's where you have to deviate it. Taking Bruno out of that central role, because we nearly went to 3-1 after they scored. And it's still crazy that he missed, but the play and the skill was great. And
disgusting.
It was disgusting. But then I'm sitting there thinking, right, we started moving the ball quicker. We broke through them. You keep Bruno dictating in the middle, but then we move him out to the right, and then we take a lot of our pace off the pitch. We take a lot of our technical ability off the pitch, and we struggle then to move the ball into the positions to create. So for me, look, there were individual players that have got to be accountable today. The manager's got to take some criticism as well. However, that's why I'm not going on board on the manager, because I believe in that when we replace a lot of these players with better quality, these decisions won't be seen as mistakes because there'll be better people coming on the football pitch. It's a bit. One of the players I wanted to talk about tonight was Eric Dyer, and Rashford's goal was good, but Eric Dyer stepping off of him. Why are you stepping off a Rashford for? He's doing it because he ain't good enough to not do that. Because if he steps out, Rashford's also going to bypass him. And that's not a that is no manager can make Dyer better in that situation. Pep wouldn't make him better. He ain't fucking good enough. You put John Stones in that situation, Rashford still might get past him and score because Rashford's very good. But I looked at Dyer tonight and just thought, you got cooked. But part of the reason we were cooking Tottenham is because they got some shit players out there. With all due respect, they got some absolute shockers out there. Richarlison looked dangerous. He couldn't hit.
Not for the season.
And that's not a dig. When he came off, I was gutted because with him on the football pitch, I don't think you were gonna. You couldn't have. I don't think you'd have equalised. Maybe he's injured. I didn't look before. Kulusevski came on, and that man was rolling and twining and twisting people. And I was so annoyed that Richarlison went off, honestly, because he weren't going to do it for you. But yeah, look, I think there's so many things tonight. Bruno's a bottle job. He bottled that shot, no doubt.
I'm gonna go, bro.
All right, bro. I appreciate that.
I gotta go soon, but I want to say something.
Yeah,
So to the point of like bringing Casemiro on and even just recognizing who you have on the pitch at any given point in time, like literally, like as the manager, as a coach, you need to recognize Casemiro's not going to hold on to the ball. If you take Eriksen off and then you shift Bruno out wide, who in the midfield is actually handling the ball? Is not Fred. I can tell you that much, because that is a man who cannot handle a ball to save his life. And so, you know, you need to recognize, you know, if this is working to your advantage, what's happening here with the whole dynamic on the pitch at any given point in time? Who's giving the ball to the people on the wings? Where's the, you know, taking the pace off? Who's actually distributing the ball and from what angle? And so if you're having, you know, a frenetic game, do you really want to have Casemiro and Fred there and not have any sort of control whatsoever in the midfield? And so that's just another error, you know, kind of, you know, recognizing your personnel. I don't know who mentioned it earlier, but these subs aren't like for like, so you need to adjust based on who you have. And I don't feel that he did that. I feel like he thought that Fred maybe was a like for Eriksen, which is the complete opposite of being true. So maybe like having dropped Bruno lower, taking Eriksen off, and then trying to work something out there, but keeping someone pacey out wide. Like, what is Pellistri doing? Sitting on the bench, you know, wondering what he's doing with his career. Like, why not have him on there instead of moving Bruno out right? And then having him be like the kind of being Bruno in the 10 role or in that 8 role where he's also succeeded. You know, it's just things like that where it's just kind of recognizing who you have and who you're working with and making that work, and also just recognizing the adjustments that need to be made.
Yeah.
Well, all I'll say, guys, don't let Man United fans, don't let the rivals think they're getting top 4. They're not. Spurs, you're done. Liverpool, done. Brighton, you're done. Villa, done. Brentford, Chelsea, we're all done. We're getting top 4.
Chelsea definitely done.
And KJ, we're stopping the treble. Guys, that's it.
The first show I've not coughed on in a while, and Neek sends me off there. Deji's with us here, Spurs fan. What you saying tonight, bro? Must be mixed emotions, but talk to us.
Gotta go.
Yeah, mixed.
You
know, Neeks is kind of lucky that he came off just before I was going to say my piece. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I think, I think Man United just took their foot off the gas, and I think you should be disappointed because that was a Spurs team there for the taking. I think the first half was, in my opinion, quite diabolical, and you can see that our defense is just rubbish, 6s and 7s, and if you're letting Sancho score from the side like that, then you know you've got problems. But you know, the one thing I'm going to give credit to Ryan Mason. He didn't just play his veterans. You know, he made some changes and he was a little bit brave. And you know, the boys came back and we managed to get a draw. But I'm like Dan, I'm not getting excited by it. We're not going to get top 4. For me, I would rather we finish out of the European places if we're not going to be in the Champions League place. What's the point of playing Europa League? What's the point in playing in the Europa Conference League? The one thing I will say is, before the season started, I did not rate Erik Ten Hag. I still don't rate Erik Ten Hag. I think he's done an all right job, but the truth is, this season's been pretty rubbish. Let's just be real. Most teams that we expected to see things from haven't been performing. And so you guys are just the best of a bad bunch. And so I'm not really surprised that you, man, came to Tottenham and you struggled. And I actually fear for United, because I know I've been hearing a lot of United fans shaking their bum like the Fong song, you know what I mean? Like it's Cisco, thinking that Eric is going to do this job and then you guys are going to start challenging the big boys next season, I don't see it really. I think you drawing today was poor decision from Eric Ten Hag and shows that there's still a lot of cracks in this team. And I would be very, very, very worried if I was a United fan.
To be fair, mate, like, I'll go on this.
Sorry.
If I may, am I muted? All right, 6. So, if I may, what is, let's say, against the top 6, what is the objective every season? You win your home games, you don't get beat away. That is the objective. What has Tottenham done against United this season? They lost at Old Trafford and they got a draw here. They
Yeah, but we're having a poor season.
What?
We're having a poor season, so you can't use Spurs as a yardstick.
Yeah, but you just said we have a poor season too.
Okay, fine.
Now, your standards is poor. I mean, unless you lot have dropped your standards, so you saying you're not having a great season.
I'll respond in a sec. Go on, Dizzy, do your thing.
Let's say what did City do against United? They beat us at their home, we beat them at our home. What's Arsenal done? We beat them at our home, they beat us at their home. Okay, what's Chelsea done? They drew at Stamford Bridge. We're yet to play them at home. So I'm not really quite understanding that how Ten Hag is really not the guy, and we're gonna struggle because these top teams are gonna come back in X, Y, Z, etc., etc. From the top of the league to somewhere in the middle, we've done exactly the same thing. We've beat them at home, and then away from home, we've kind of struggled. Today, we bottled it because realistically, you man should have held 4 or 5. That's the reality of the situation.
Real.
But we're at the results-based end of the season. At this point, it don't matter. It's all about results. How we play is irrelevant because everybody that's on the pitch, we know what they are already. They've given us a big enough sample size to say he's good enough, he's not good enough, he's going in the summer. We just got to ride it out to the summer. So we're in a results-based part of the thing. So today we bottled it. We should have won it clean. But we move on to the next games, and it's just about getting as many results as possible.
Here's the funny thing, yeah. Here's the funny thing about Ten Hag, yeah. That's what makes me laugh. Like, people forgetting, yeah, that what he walked into, we weren't only just the best of a bad bunch. We were literally bottom of the bad bunch, along with Everton. And that's not an exaggeration. That's literally where we were heading after last season. To the point where we were siding with rival fans, and rival fans were giving us a better rating and prediction for this season. Nobody, absolutely nobody, other than the high level Arsenal fan who probably represents, other. You're going to find one of those type of fans in every fan base. He's probably going to put 150 quid on United winning the league. Them fans exist, yeah, and it's mad. But majority of those fans, none of us said, yeah, we're going to smash the league, we're going to do this. So, given the fact that not only did we play the most games in Europe and still stay in top in the 4 in the 4 cup what did you say, 3 cup competitions and the league, and still going for 4, with the most depleted squad, with a squad that is literally inherited by 4 or 5 previous managers, and you're trying to come on here and come with a level of Ten Hag ain't all that. With the greatest of respect, yeah, Pep ain't doing that, Klopp ain't doing that. Now, don't get me wrong, Ten Hag's got his flaws. That's plain to see. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But in his first season, a first year to do what he's done, for you to come on here and act like he's not showing enough for you to take him seriously, that to me is pain butthurt, because I know guaranteed your club is looking like what it was looking like for us at United, and you will beg to have a Ten Hag who can come and bring some structure to your team.
So
bang on. Bang on.
I don't know what's going on in this stream just for the last 5 minutes.
One at a time, please. Go on, Alan.
I don't understand what's going on in the stream last 5 minutes. Deji, I don't agree with you. I think Ten Hag's proven that he's a decent manager. He's got.
No, you never agree. Every show you don't agree with me.
Just let everyone talk. Let me finish. And he's in another final. So I thought he was going to be a flop, but he's doing better than I thought he was. But like a Man United fan coming here flexing about you've done well against big teams, is that and the other, and then you go straight into the thing that you've bottled it in this game, and a team you should be whooping because Spurs have been awful. So you flex one thing and then just basically say, but then we bottled it. So you're doing your manager a disservice, which game you should be winning. And then saying the guy just before me saying that you were going down going the same way as Everton. Everton just survived relegation. You finished 6th, so it weren't as bad.
Never said we were going the same way as Everton, mate. Never said we were going the same way as Everton.
Back on track, rather than
never said we were going the same way as Everton. Don't put words into my mouth.
Team, you weren't as bad as you're making out. It's not as bad as you've made out. So let's just move on.
How was it not as bad as we made out? Explain that for me.
1 second. Let me.
Explain that for me. Go on.
1 second. I've let everyone talk this stream.
All right. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to that question.
Oh my God. Can I finish what I'm saying?
Finish.
In regards to the game, Spurs were absolutely shocking. Man United should have whooped us 4 or 5-0. I completely agree with that. But what happened is you took your foot off the gas in the second half and allowed the Spurs. That Spurs second half performance was what we saw under Conte. Nothing in the first half, shown up in the second half. We should have been like that from the start because of that piss poor performance against Newcastle, but we decided to show up. And already I see Spurs fans going, let Ryan Mason cook. No. What is it with his fan base? Because he's a Tottenham guy. Let him cook. Absolutely not. You saw literally pretty much a carbon copy of what we've seen all season. Poor half performances, good second half performances. It's not good enough. Again, this board has caused problems by not putting in a better manager or sorted this manager thing out straight away. And we're going to be like this for the rest of the season where we put piss poor performances in, good performances, but we have to reset in the summer and go again. But this season, for a Spurs fan perspective, people go, oh, it's a write-off. I don't care. This is an absolutely disgusting performance, disgusting season, and we need to do better in the summer. Otherwise, we need to, as a fan base, sort this ball out. But the players, some of those performances in that first half were diabolical. Porro, defending, awful. Romero, not showing up in the first half and then showing up in the second half. Højbjerg looks like he's out of gas. He's absolutely been shocking for weeks, but people give him a buy. You've got Eric Dyer getting skinned in the first half. An open goal in the second half and not taking it. He should do better. Son showing up and barely getting his goal, missed kicking. Harry Kane, really good at points, but then obviously missing for most of the first half like Spurs were. It's just a shocking performance from Spurs. And yeah, Man United did bottle the second half, and you should really be beating us 4 or 5-1, maybe even 6-1 like Newcastle did. But the reason why you didn't is because Newcastle are better than you. It's as simple as that.
I want to add something here about Ten Hag, to be honest. Listen, Ten Hag is on course to get the best point tally for a fourth team in the past 5 years since 2017-18. So, and it's his first season, right? With all the injuries that he has. And this is mathematics. This is not like, it's not something I came up with. Just divide the number of points. And he has gotten rid of Ronaldo. He has gotten good players in. Yes, he got in a couple of signings are bad, like Malas is not great. And the work that he has done with Wan-Bissaka, where a lot of us called him not a footballer last season. And now a lot of teams saying that I would rather have Wan-Bissaka over Trent as right back. That shows you how this coach worked with these players. That's number one. Number two, I'm watching this game and I can't stop thinking of one thing. What is this Spurs team without Harry Kane? Without Harry Kane, today,
what is your like without Rashford this season?
Nah, man.
No,
without Harry Kane.
So the best player today.
We're
So
an
the
average
best
team without Harry Kane.
So the best player today on the pitch was Bruno Fernandes before Eric Ten Hag, like stupid, moving him to the right side, which is Terry alluded into, and a lot of people do, because they controlled the game from that middle of the park, like having Bruno Fernandes there. Nobody knew what to do with this guy. And Eric Ten Hag somehow trying to prove a point with Vigor, so trying to prove a point to somebody in the board that these players are not good enough, making these idiotic subs and letting the game out of his hand. But today, Bruno Fernandes proved that he is better than Rashford for this Man United team. But Harry Kane today proved that if he moved away to go to Man United, this Man United team probably is going to be better and better. And Spurs, I don't know where you go. Spurs are like, I'm asking Patrick and all that Spurs lot, what do you do without Harry Kane? He is the one who dragged you today. He's the one who's creating everything. He's the one who's fighting, dragging the team up when you were out, down and out. Like, I don't know. Without Harry Kane, I don't know what you do, to be honest.
It's a common misconception with some fans. I mean, there's been times where Harry Kane's been injured and Spurs have still made, had great results and all that. Let's look back at the season where he got injured in a game against Man City in the first half and Spurs got all the way to the final of the Champions League and maintained top 4 without him in the thing, scoring more goals, just as many goals with him out of the team and all that. It's a common misconception. Yeah, he's a talisman, but where he goes out, normally other people come in and get the goals as well and maintain. Yeah, it's going to be a loss, but it's always the same without Harry Kane. But Spurs have proved previously when he's been out of the team, we can always get goals and continue. We're not saying that we're going to be better with him, but we do just as good with it without him at certain points.
Oh,
when
I
he's
don't know.
been
I don't know.
injured.
Alan, that was 5 years
as
ago.
of late,
Alan,
I don't know
5
what
years
he
ago.
will do a whole season.
no. As of
Not the whole
late,
season.
without Harry Kane, we are absolutely horrendous. Like, we're horrendous with him, and without him, we're terrible. I just wanted to sort of pick up on a point where whoever it was that mentioned about Ten Hag being average. Ten Hag, in the space of 6 months, has done better than what any Spurs manager has done in the last 2 decades. He's done exactly the same. We've won the same trophy we've done in the space of 6 months. So I think I'm seeing a lot of stuff about Ten Hag and stuff. People criticizing him, people wanting him out, and I'm sitting there going, "What?" Because winning you 2 trophies this season, it's got you to an FA Cup final and a domestic trophy in the space of 1 season. Like, sorry, that's. And he's only just got
people
there.
forgetting where we come from, bro. This is what's mad. At the start of the season,
Nah.
we said we're relegated.
It's crazy. Listen, it's
relegation battles.
Look, he's made mistakes this year, but the guy's year 1 into his build, and I get what Alan said. Someone actually said this comment. I'm going to go this. A lot of people are asking about the super chats. We are going to go to them soon. This guy here said, Terry laughing. I kind of smirked when Alan said Newcastle better than this. He goes, Newcastle's so far ahead. They're 2 points ahead of us, and we have a game in hand.
So
we
far,
win.
you know.
They're ahead of us, and right now, as the league stands, Arsenal have been the best team in the league this year so far because they're currently top. Newcastle third. They've been the 3rd best team in the league this year. There's no doubt about it. But Newcastle being really good, in my opinion, is no reflection on Ten Hag, on what he's trying to build and what he's trying to do. Managing Man United is a very different kettle of fish. The pressure at the bigger club is a different kettle of fish. And he's learning to circumnavigate that. And he's made some mistakes this year. He'll be ridiculed for that. He'll be criticized for that. But I think football fans have become... We saw Dawes last night, crying on camera. I think football fans have become addicted, absolutely addicted to... And Dawes is the guy, yes, anyone that said anything negative about Arsenal, we attack them. And then he goes from that to, we're the biggest bottle jobs in the world, I'm going to cry on camera. And it's one extreme to the other. And I think football fans are sometimes got to learn to say, you can criticize someone, but the end of the sentence, but I still want this guy to succeed and I back him. That seems to confuse people more than saying my manager's and I want him out of the football club. It's weird to me now. And look, I know why some Spurs fans have an issue with Ten Hag, because you guys rejected him for a job and picked Nuno.
I'd have had Ten Hag in a heartbeat. I said it at the time.
So I know why there's a little bit of animosity there. Leighton Orient, I used to go to Orient as a kid. Leighton, we at my school used to get free season tickets. Whenever they used to do half-time results and full-time results at the ground, and whenever they did Man United and they mentioned that Man United scored, if they mentioned the name Beckham had got a goal, the crowd booed. And I used to say to my dad, why? Then it turned out Leighton Orient had rejected him as an academy kid, and he went to Manchester United, and it rattled the Leighton Orient fans. Same thing, I think. I'm going to do some of these super chats and come back to you boys. Ganso here says, maximum points assuming each win every game. Brighton 73, Liverpool 71, Spurs 69, United 81. Wins should get us top 4, which is super achievable with our running. We'll be fine. Look, Man United got some tough games. Like Villa at home is still a hard game at the weekend. We've got Chelsea at home. I think we've got to play Wolves. We've got some Brighton away is the one remaining game where I'm like, and West Ham away is always a difficult game. Brighton away is the one where I'm like, shit, I'm genuinely fearful of that. But again, every time Man United since January have dropped a point, the narrative is your whole season's going to collapse. And I think it's too hyperbolic. Ten Hag's son says, why did we keep sitting back after 2 goals? For me, that's a player issue. It's a bit like with Spurs tonight. I don't think Ryan Mason said at 2-2, sit back now, everyone. I just can't imagine. You were there, Patrick. You were at the game.
Yeah, I was at the game, man. I was at the game.
Did you see any notion from your manager going, guys, now sit back and don't try and win?
That's what pissed me off. I would have rather we went for the win and lost than just sat back, because we invited so much pressure on. And it was really annoying because they were there for the taking. We were there for the taking, but so were United. And I was frustrated because obviously to be 2-0 down at half time, it was I didn't expect anything else. So the second half, I was encouraged by what I saw. I saw some fight and some desire. And you saw the Man United fans, they were kind of shell-shocked. They didn't expect that from us. So we took the game by the scruff of its neck. Eric Dyer missing a sitter was criminal. Sonny with that scuffed volley where he should have scored. Perisic was pissing me off as well because even though he played okay, there were so many times where he should have beat his man and delivered a better ball. But, you know, obviously I've come into the stream really late, so I've missed a lot of the chat. But hearing Mo say, oh, where would we be without Harry Kane? I don't really understand that notion. Where would any team be without their best player? Like, why are you talking about Harry Kane? Where would Man City be? I know Man City is probably the worst example because they've got so many good players, but every good team take away their best player, and obviously they're not going to be as good. But what Alan said is right as well. Other players will step up. Quality players will then step up, fill that void, show that they've got something to give. I.e., we have played without Harry Kane for a number of months and still done okay. But of course, why would we want to lose our best player? That's a really silly thing to say because why would you want to lose your best player when he offers so much to the team? So that's that. But yeah, I mean, again, I've missed a lot of the chat. People that get onto Ten Hag is a fantastic manager. Like, come on, let's be real. I don't think he's an elite manager yet. He's not at the Klopp and Guardiola level, but he's definitely, for me, a bracket below. You've seen how he's completely revolutionized this United team in less than a season. He's already won them a domestic cup. The cups are hard to win, especially in the UK when there's so many good teams. He's completely changed the culture there, the style of play, developed players like Mo said, Wan-Bissaka, a new lease of life and looks like a good player again. Even Jadon Sancho is slowly getting integrated into the team after all of his issues. Rashford has turned the corner and looked like a good player. Don't forget, last year, people wanted Rashford out. They were saying, like, fuck off to PSG. And now look, where would they be without Rashford? Same kind of notion. So for me, Ten Hag is a top manager. Again, it's not really his squad. He's inherited a lot of mismatched players from different managers. Once the summer comes, he gets a few more players in. You'll see him obviously step up a level. So I thought it was a good game for us. Second half gave me something to get behind. Obviously, we've got a long way to go, but Ryan Mason is what Ryan Mason is. And he did okay. Do you know what I mean? First game. After a 6-1 battering, I'll take a 2-2. Do you know what I mean?
You say, obviously, no player, like you said, no team wants to lose the best player. But in your instance, with the kind of ownership that you have, isn't it now time to just let him go? Because
why would we know? Like, why would you?
Patrick, at the end of the day,
no.
Even with Harry Kane, you still haven't won anything. So who's there to say that you can't win without him? You haven't seen without Harry Kane for like 10 years. Like, he's been there for that long.
It's just the fear, isn't it? It's the fear.
If Harry Kane turns around, listen, if Harry Kane turns around tomorrow and says, I want to leave Tottenham, I've done everything I can do, I've reached my ceiling here, I'm not seeing anything there. Okay, cool, let him go. You never keep a player against their will. Don't hold someone prisoner or captive. But ideally, what you want to do, and I'm not saying Daniel Levy will do this, but what you want to do is build around your best players. You want to obviously, build and focus on your best players. For me, I think what they should do, obviously, increase Harry Kane's wages, speak to him, understand what he wants to do, find out what is important to him, and build a club. Not in his vision, but obviously Harry Kane he loves Tottenham. He wants to be successful at Tottenham. So it's time to obviously do what is necessary to take it to the next level.
I respect it. Isn't that short-sighted?
With how long can you go with this guy being the pinnacle of your team? Like, not because he's a bad player, he's a brilliant player, but at some point he's going to go regardless. So why not get him? Why not let him go when you can get money for him and reinvest? Then when he's going to go for free or retires at your club,
the club should be investing with or without Harry Kane anyway. So I don't really we're not a poor club. We're one of the richest clubs in the world. We've got billionaire owners. Like, what we should do is build around Kane. We don't need to let him go to then continue. Do you know what I mean? So, yes, I get what you're saying, KJ. It makes sense. But also, the other side, build around your best player. You don't let your best players go and then start again. Why don't you start again, but with one of the best Premier League strikers of all time, a generational talent, someone who's second or third in the all-time Premier League scoring list, the club's top scorer? For me, why would you let him go when you can actually build around him?
But you lot doing that, yeah?
Yeah, you're gone.
Sorry, yeah, you lot doing that is like the Glazers starting putting a level of football structure in there. Like, it should happen, but the reality is it's not going to happen. And you have to come to realization of what you know is right as opposed to what your reality is. It's difficult, and I understand it. And I'm talking as a neutral. It may be difficult because I'm a United fan, but I do like to have objective conversations. And I'm just looking at the situation right now. You trying to build Tottenham the way you're saying, I agree with you. That makes sense. But your owner, isn't running his mindset like that, and hasn't been for a long time, and he's been consistently doing this. So, from one football fan to another with shit owners, they have to find some level of loophole or a way out of it. The reason I wanted Ten Hag back was because I know of his experiences at board level. And I know in terms of how he knows how to structure. And I knew that we wouldn't get structure from top bottom. But I knew he would have the facilities and understanding and experiences to at least put something at the bottom to bridge through the gap. And I do believe in the reports when he was waiting on signing that contract because he wanted assurances from these owners because he wasn't stupid like the other managers. And so he's managed to do it his way because he has an understanding of the structure. Tottenham, in my honest opinion, won't get a new level of structure until you get new owners. And I respect that your fans are now fighting against leaving now. And we saw the signs in the stadium. I support that.
Fair play.
But at the same time,
was singing loud and proud, didn't he?
Yeah, they were. But at the same time, bro, if you look at it for the short term, Harry Kane ain't getting any younger. Yes, his talent is amazing. Yeah, we get that. Even me as a United fan, I'm thinking, is he now worth 80 million, 100 million for 2 seasons out of him? When we're trying to build ourselves, there would have been a period when you should have sold him. I'm thinking, get your money in. If Levy ain't going to pump that money into the club on his own ends, do what Liverpool did with the Suarez situation. Go get rid of your best player, get the money in, and put some value into a manager who wants to build the structure. Start somewhere, because if you keep holding on to this Harry Kane flex, you're gonna bury yourself into the ground, bro.
Guys,
See,
can
I
I just add something for a minute? An example I would use is this. Ruud van Nistelrooy left Manchester United in the summer of 2006. We went on to do a three-peat. Rooney went to another level. Ronaldo went to another level, and it was brilliant for us. But Ruud van Nistelrooy also, he was in the latter stage of his career. But he went to Real Madrid and scored 64 goals in 90 games. And was their main striker, and they won back-to-back La Liga titles. And I do believe one of the last times they won back-to-back La Liga titles in 07 and 08. So Spurs can get rid of Kane. If they invest the money right, can go to another level. Kane can also leave and do brilliant elsewhere for a team that needs a goal scorer like him now to go to another level. And I think it's about that mixture. And I do agree with you, Patty, by the way.
I think
the notion of what would you do without your best player, I actually think you need to test that theory because other people need to step up and take responsibility. I think they put everything through Kane and there's too much pressure upon him. And I believe I actually think Spurs will improve without Kane in a very similar way. They predicted that Everton would get relegated when Wayne Rooney left. And they went on to have their best ever season and they made it into the top 4. Sometimes your best player leaving with the right investment can galvanize you. Now, I think you could maintain better because you're a bigger club than Everton, but losing your best player doesn't always mean you go backwards. It's about buying right and balancing it across your team,
I hear you, but I wouldn't, for me, I would never advocate selling our best player. So that's, for me, I would never do that. I hear you. Everything you lot said makes sense if this club, I mean, we don't even have a DOF.
Exactly.
And when we have had a DOF, has that guy ever got the decisions and transfers and everything else right? So I don't trust these guys. So for me to sell our best player and then end up with crap, it doesn't make sense. So
no, yeah, I think.
Go on, Perch.
I was just going to say, I think the biggest thing here is with the whole Harry Kane thing. Harry Kane's one of my favourite players, by the way, before anyone says anything. So I said the only way you sell him is if there's a plan. And the problem is at the moment with Tottenham, there's never any plan. Exactly. There's no plan, and the problem is so you keep a hold of Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the plaster at Tottenham because when the chips are down, Harry Kane does well. We get Champions League, so it papers over all the cracks at the football club, and it has done for nearly a decade. And I've said this for so long now. You lose Harry Kane, you lose a lot because there's no plan. As I said, if it's the same, it's not just with Harry Kane. It's with Heung-min Son. It's with Hugo Lloris as well. There's no plan. We should be, at the moment, planning for a new goalkeeper because our goalkeeper is crap at the moment. And we don't. There was talks about a month ago that we were going to extend his contract by another year, which tells me there's no plan. There's nobody out there going, do you know what? we're looking for the next best young goalkeeper because he's going to be there for a decade and a half. No, that doesn't happen at Tottenham. Keeping Harry Kane just pushes us further down the line. There's no plan. What I know will happen is Harry Kane will end up going, and Richarlison will be the man that ends up becoming the number 9 because we've invested £60 million into him. Do I think Richarlison is the answer? No, he's not. He's not one. I give him a bit of benefit of doubt. Doesn't play enough. Plays out on the left. He probably needs to be playing down the middle. But you're not going to with Harry Kane playing. So, and this is the problem at Tottenham at the moment. There's no plan, and I say this all the time. There's no strategy to go. Do you know what? We're going to plan post Harry Kane, post Hugo Lloris, post Heung-min Son. We'll keep them here as long as we can, bleed them as dry as they can, and then go. Do you know what? When it's over, and go. Do you know what? Let's just try and go and throw 80 million quid at a striker and it not work.
There's not been a plan.
I get you guys. I'm really sorry to interject out. Sorry to interject because I just got to read a few things out of some super chats. There has just been an update that's come out about Harry Kane leaving. Very interesting from Sammy McBell. He has said that Daniel Levy's attempt to stop Kane leaving for Man United is set to be complicated because of Pochettino's imminent arrival at Chelsea. The arrival
here we go.
So the arrival of Poch would complicate things. Poch and Kane are very, very close, and the Argentinian is already reportedly reaching out to the player's representation to bring him to Chelsea. The chances of leaving Chelsea appear remote because of the club's history. So therefore, there is a belief that Man United, it'd almost be like the last thing Levy wants is Kane forcing this move through to Chelsea. That's a bad look. So there's an opportunity for Man United to get a deal done in relation to that. So that's going to be interesting to see how that kind of pans out. So I just want to go through some of these super chats. I'm really sorry because I don't want to disrespect the viewers. Maybe Ten Hag wanted to do a Levy a favor, so he got Kane. Maybe Debbie. maybe that's what he was doing. You have to remember, subs would just played 120 minutes. Have a game on Sunday too. We need to rotate or run them into the ground. Think it plays a part. I think that's fair, Kevin. To be fair, that's a really fair point, Kevin. If you still watch him, I will say this: if Spurs did not have Sunday League defenders, we would have beaten that United team. I agree, and I think if we had our best 2 centre backs, and the likes of Garnacho available from the bench, I think we would have beaten you. So I think there's definite truth in that, my friend. Since everyone knows more than the coach, what changes would you have made? This actually came through when I think Staffy really broke down some good differences with Neeks and that as well. So we kind of thank you, bro. Jerome also says in Richarlison's position, defense was so he was playing in wrong. Richie would have been in a better position than Sonny. Maybe he's just weird. The guy, he's weird. And I mean that in a nice way. I don't. Do United fans think Ten Hag needs to work on his game plan away at the top half clubs since it's 1 win in 9 matches, or is it the players? I say a bit of both. A bit of both. What I do want to say though, Abdul might be watching. I need to call this out. He DM me his tweet, and I read his tweet, and it's a points comparison. It says here, Ollie with McFred and Maguire after 31 games with 63 points. And obviously Ten Hag with Casemiro, Eriksson, and, our defenders, 60 points after 31 games. However, the problem is he's used Ollie's second full season and not his first full season, where in Ollie's first full season, we were on 49 points after 31 games. So we're 11 points better off now. And to give you an idea of how good that jump is, if we were 11 points better off now, we'd be 2 points behind everybody's favourites to win the league, Manchester City. I did tweet him and say, why are you comparing not doing first season versus first season? And his response was, because Ten Hag's squad is not comparable to Ollie's squad at the beginning with the era. They're more comparable now. So the man's actually using his second. This is what I said about the Ten Hag hate. This guy's weird though. He's a Barca fan. He says he has no reason to hate Man United, but he comes out with all due respect to Abdul. I know you follow the Terrace. You tune into our shows. I don't want to be rude, but how are you not doing like for like comparisons? You're looking at second seasons. Now you've got to remember, this squad won't even be comparable for him. By the way, that squad that he had in his first full season, the year before, that squad was tipped to go on a title run under Ten Hag, under Jose Mourinho. That squad had the likes of Paul Pogba in it, and many stars that we believe we should have gone on to another level with. And that's the problem with rewriting history. And I won't do that with Man United. I won't do what Liverpool fans do with, Gerrard never played in any good teams. You, man, were predicting title runs every year with your teams. You can't go back and rewrite history. But when Arsenal fans say no one said we would be top, you guys said, well, circumstances changed, and laugh at us. But, bro, we're all Man United fans will be angry and call it a bottle job if we don't make top 4.
Yep.
110%.
We called it a bottle job today.
What we're saying is, if we make it into the top 4, we've overachieved based on expectations. Arsenal have overachieved based on expectations this year, but you've still thrown away an 8-point lead at the top. You've bottled your last 3 to 4 games, and you were top. You had the longest stint on top of the league ever, maybe without winning it. 93% of the season you've been top. So you've got to be criticised for that. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans have got angry with me in the last few days for calling out your misgivings. But you've got to learn to take it, otherwise you're going to struggle in life, my friends. This Spurs fan is butthurt because Spurs picked Nuno over Ten Hag. Focus on your own manager issues. Poch rejected a return to Spurs to go to Chelsea.
We didn't. I was going to say, I don't think that's true. We didn't actually go in for him at all.
Is that what is that from Spurs press?
No, I think that's come from across the board that we didn't.
I don't think
because you know me, I don't trust club press at any.
Yeah.
Where are you reading that? Because I read that he came to us and I heard that they rejected him.
Who?
I read that they rejected him.
It was. Yeah, we turned him down.
Then that's our own fault.
You lot did you lot did what Wenger did with Cesc Fabregas, basically. Patrick is defo Levy's favorite customer. Guy shops at the Spurs mega store like it's like Aldi.
Right, no, I will back Patrick. He is boycotting. He just likes
Patrick gets all these Spurs merchandise from Walthamstow Market, bro. That's what he does.
Listen, this is real shit.
All been there. Patrick is so sensible. Keep it up, my G.
Thank you very much.
Have you guys talked about why Spurs' first goal wasn't offside?
Because Danjuma didn't try and play the ball. Like
he was laying on the floor.
Oh, was there talk? You know what? In the stadium, you don't hear any of that. Was there a lot of talk that I could have been offside?
No, he was inside the goal.
He was the keeper.
He was inside the goal. He was behind the line, so he wasn't offside. He was behind the line. Actually,
I thought because the Gea set pointed at his leg, and I thought maybe Danjuma fell into him and hit him. And that's what I was hoping to see. And when I saw no contact, I was like, nah, it's not going to be offside. For me,
Terry, if De Gea would have dived, then he'd have hit the player or something. He could have then claimed for obstruction. But because he just stood still and then looked at him and was like, he shouldn't be there. I think, because didn't we lose a challenge similar this season?
Arsenal last year.
They ruled the goal off. Yeah,
that was because Fred was the player that stood on David De Gea's foot, so it's not foul. But for me, the reason it's not offside, David De Gea didn't dive because he couldn't get to it. Goalies know when they can't get to a shot and they look at it. So that, and then afterwards, he probably thought, "Shit, I should have dived." It was one of them ones, really. But
he tried it.
And look, even if that was offside, we should have gone down to 10 men. Really, Lindelof should have got a second yellow card. If that's offside, then fair's fair in the game, really. As far as I'm concerned in relation to that, I did want to. No comment. I'm not even joking, right? I'm down to my last antibiotic, and I'm a bit worried. This thing has got better this week, but it hasn't totally gone. And honestly, like I can hear all week when I breathe, I can hear there's like liquid in my lungs, and I can hear it all crackling. It's proper mad. You know when you put that stuff in your mouth that crackles, they're sweets. It sounds like when I breathe.
It's popping candy.
Yeah, popping candy. That's the one. But I just want to give a bit of a shout out tonight to Bruno, not Bruno Fernandes, to Marcus Rashford, because goal and an assist from him tonight. That moves him on to 40 goal contributions for the season, only behind
41 of them.
Only behind 41, sorry. Yes, you're right. 41 that he is on in total. That puts him 2 behind Mbappe on 43. He's nowhere near Haaland, who's on 57 GA for the season. But like Marcus, like he's had a little stint. United are going to need him, really, aren't they, Mo, for the run-in now and hopefully in form for this FA Cup final.
Marcus Rashford. This, to be honest, this is the hope going forward. But along with Bruno Fernandes, of course, these two. And today I saw Marcus Rashford doing something really good, which is he's brought Sancho into the play. Every time he took the ball, he went to the left, trying to bring Sancho into getting involved. And that he got the goal, Sancho. And Marcus Rashford has been in a great form. That left foot finish was like putting his foot through this was absolutely phenomenal. Knowing exactly where to take Eric Dyer and how to go to the goal in the shortest place, like that run was phenomenal. Staying on the shoulder of the last defender, that's very smart from him. And to be honest, like every time I'm looking at Marcus Rashford and people tell me he only scores goals, but this is what you can do as a striker. This is why you are on the team, bro. And it's not only scoring goals. You're looking at him. He scored 16 goals, and I think he had a handful or more of assists. So what do you want from a forward more than this? And it's not, sorry, I just want to add something, KJ. There are type of goals that Harry Kane scores and people praise him for it, which is he runs with the ball and scores from outside the 18. Marcus Rashford has been doing this. He takes the ball, runs inside the 18. He's not a tap-in merchant. He puts the ball, he has a couple of touches before he scores. So why people don't talk about this? He's not a tap-in merchant. He's like, he never dribbles. You don't need to dribble. You don't need to have trickery to be a great player, a great forward. You can just on the run, scoring goals from outside the 18. And I see him being a left on the number 9. He's doing his job. And it's great for Man United to have this guy in form.
This
great plan.
Play him down the middle for the rest of the season. I love Anthony Martial, but today was another example of his inconsistency, his lack of fitness, and his mentality. It just didn't look like he didn't want it today, and that was his biggest issue. Like, and I love Martial. He's better than Rashford at holding up the ball. He's better than Rashford at close touch dribbling. You can argue he's better at Rashford with certain kind of finishes. But what Rashford delivers in the forward line is he's got the strength. He does have strength to hold the ball. He can link up play. And he has that explosion that Martial has lost. Martial's lost his explosiveness when he's running forward. Rashford still has that. You saw every time he got the ball and turned, the defense for Spurs were like, crap. We need to backpedal. We are backpedaling because this guy on the ball at speed can do damage. And he was playing in Sancho. And he was playing in Bruno. And he was playing in Anthony. Right now, Martial is not, he's too up and down. Play Rashford through the middle. He plays all game anyway. He's our biggest goal threat. So why just keep him there? Keep him there. Let him roam free. Let him link up with the wingers and Bruno. And let him do what he can do, which was today. Beautiful left foot finish. People said he couldn't finish with his left foot. He wasn't finishing with his left foot. This season, he's how many goals with his left this season? And they weren't tap-ins either. They were good, clean finishes like today. So yeah, we need to keep him fit. We need to keep him in the center for the rest of the season. Maybe next season we can look at getting a striker. He could go back on the left. But just for now, this guy delivers when he plays up front for us. We need him there. Sancho and Anthony on either side of him with Bruno behind him. I think that balance is nice. I think it works.
We live to see if Man United fans saying Sancho on the left as a starter. This is something.
All right, listen, I want him on the right personally. I actually want to see Anthony and Sancho switch for a game and try them when they're not trying so focused. No, listen, the reason why I say that is because both Anthony and Sancho are so focused on getting the ball into their stronger foot that they slow down play. When both of them have been on their stronger side, they play the ball quicker. They've created chances because they're not too focused on, okay, I need to beat a guy and cut back. And they're just ball out the feet, pass. Ball out the feet, cross. And it's also something different. How many teams play with wingers whose strongest foot is on the side that they're on? Not many.
Ten Hag don't do that. That's not his profile for a winger. He likes to have his right winger strong left-footed. He likes to have his left winger strong right-footed.
And I know he does. But I'm just saying, I would like to see that.
From a preference standpoint.
Yeah. I'm not saying
cool. Yeah,
no, but Anthony's never that guy, guys. Anthony's not the guy who's gonna take someone on a run and cross the ball for your striker.
Have you seen him for Brazil when he plays on the left?
He's not gonna be that guy. It's very obvious that he's a hold-up play, dribble inside, getting the Brunos and getting the Casemiros and the Ericssons involved. Like he's like a whipping cross from the right side. I don't think he's that guy to take a player on a run and run to the like Perisic does, or like players used to do like that. Like Garnacho does this from the left side. I don't think he's going to be effective there. Maybe Erik Ten Hag can. I don't think so. It's not going to happen.
And Anthony, for me, like Anthony was a weird one tonight as well, because I actually thought, again, he's been taken off a couple of times in recent games where he's playing really well, and it confuses me why he's come off. As the Anthony moved his head, but he did play well tonight. There was and he may not be the guy, and I'm not a fan of the word things like the words like pre-assist. I think we're going too far to try and make stats for people. But I understand why they were created, because we often refuse to see the important things people do. The chance that we had where Sancho had the ball cleared off the line, that all started from a lovely touch and turn from Bruno into Anthony. Anthony drags players into him, and then he feeds the ball into Eriksen, who first time whips the ball out to him. But what happens is Anthony's always forgotten in those moves. The amount of time Anthony will, and he's done this a lot more recently, he makes runs inside, he'll do a nice ball, play a nice ball in on the cutback. Unless it's the pass that leads to the shot, nobody remembers it. And I find it really strange that people's eye tests are that weak, that they only see goals and they only see assists, but they're the same people that state that stats aren't everything. And I think I like what Anthony's turning into. He even did a really nice ball across the 6-yard box for Martial and Rashford, and neither of them anticipated it and made the run. And I think if Rashford, by the way, was a number 9, I think he would have made that run. And we need to see a little bit more of it. He's done that a few times in recent games. He's played good balls across the 6-yard box, and no one's making the run.
Even Besiktas as well. Remember Besiktas across the box.
There needs to be a little bit more of this. And I think Anthony's going to be a second season player at Man United, where he goes on to another level. He hasn't been perfect this year, but there's been so much desperation to kind of label him like the flop of the season, the worst player out there. And someone here says 90 million euros for a pre-assist. Are we going to ignore all these goals then? Like,
wait, if you want to talk about flops,
and equally, like Bruno's called shit, even though he's I think only Messi has better stats from him from a playmaker point of view in the last 3 or 4 years. But Bruno's shit. Like this, what are we saying here, Sadiq? Are we saying it's all about stats, or like what I say, a mixture of both? And I'm saying 95 million. We don't judge a 95 million pound player in their first year. We don't, especially not at 22 years of age, first time in the Premier League. You give him a little bit of time. Jack Grealish halfway through the season, I was looking at him and saying one of the biggest flops ever, because he wasn't impacting games. What have I said in the last month and a half? That is Jack Grealish. That is a £100 million player. But he's in his late 20s and played his whole career in England.
I was going to say, young players. I think people miss that completely. These are humans.
But it's true.
You know what? One player that is a great example.
This is what happens now. Sorry, I was going to say, this is what always happens now. Whoever buys a player in the summer for a lot of money, it's right. Year one, they're either a flop or they're brilliant. We've invested £95 million for the next 4, 5, 6 years. Let's assess it over that period of time. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like, he hasn't had the greatest debut season. Of course, I would have loved him to have been absolutely amazing. But you also run the risk of second season syndrome. We've seen a lot of players come to the Prem. First year, they're amazing. And then there's a fall off. For me, there's a lot more to come from this kid. A lot more.
There is a lot more to come from him. I mean, I think he's had decent games here and there. I don't think he's set a world alight, but he is young. But if you're spending that much on a player, I don't think you have to assess over the entirety of the thing. You have to see progress year on year. If you don't, that's when obviously you can talk about him being a flop and getting rid of him. In regards to the Harry Kane going to Man United, like a possibility, I see it happening if because we're not going to time that to another contract. So I don't think he's stupid enough to take it. And like I can't remember who it was on here that just said about why would you pay £8 million for Harry Kane because he only got 2 seasons. He's coming up to 30 at the end of this year, but he scored 24 goals in the Premier League with this shit team this season. That's how exactly 24 goals. If you put him in that Man United team and get 18 to 19 goals, where are you in the league? What, 12 points better off? 13, 14, 15?
Harry Kane at Man United will put you in the title race next season.
Boys, I said it in January. If we'd have signed him instead of Weghorst in January, we would have been in this title race. We would have been in this title race.
And the horrible thing is,
there's been so many games you haven't killed off, like tonight.
I was just going to say, and the horrible thing is I genuinely see you sign him, because I think there will come to a point where Harry Kane's representatives will say, we're not signing a new contract and we will cash in on him because we're not going to let him go out on a free. This is the point about Tottenham Hotspur. We're run by people. We're run by accountants. They're not going to go and let 80 million to 100 million quid go for free. So we run by accountants. They're gonna take the emotion out of it, and they will get rid. However, though, if they do, I tell you what, the backlash will be massive if they do what they're really stuck between a rock and a hard place, the ownership and the chairman at this football club. Because if they have if they get rid of Kane, I tell you what, it will be carnage from the fan base.
you know
and the problem is if they keep a hold of him, he doesn't sign a new contract. We then lose him on a free the season after. So it's a rock and a hard place situation.
This is what you want, though, because you want these guys out. You want them in pain no matter what they do. So this
yeah.
is good.
It's not a bad thing.
But this is what I said. I genuinely said this. I said, I love Harry Kane. Like, as I said, one of the most favourite football players I've seen at his football club. But I would, if Harry Kane was the sacrificial lamb, if it meant that we get actual proper change at this football club from top down, I would actually hold my hands up and go, do you know what? Fine. I would accept it for the long term change because that for me, because listen, I'll still support for the football club when Harry Kane retires. I'll still be supporting this football club when Daniel Levy and Enoch finally sell the club. I will still be there supporting the team. So it's like I look at it from the perspective of the further part down the line, if that makes sense.
I hear you on that.
iTest is calling you out, by the way, Terry, and me, calling both of us out. By the way.
He's DM'd. iTest already DM'd me and said, "I told you about Alexander Isak." Now let's not start twisting facts. I didn't say he was bad. I just said that your claim at the time. He said he is clear of Haaland.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Lies.
This is what we did.
That's a statement.
And this is what people do. This is iTest. I like you, but this is what iTest does. He'll say Isak is clear of Rashford, and right now I think people can have a debate about that. But he then said the biggest one I challenged him on was he's clear of Haaland. Now he's trying to twist it into you didn't rate Alexander Isak. I'm like, no, I just didn't think he was better than Haaland.
He said we laughed at him about Isak. I said no. I said you said he was better than Haaland, which is laughable, and it still is. That's why we laugh. And it's just like it's
brilliant. He's brilliant. It's just it was a crazy claim. So don't twist what you said. And again, I didn't know much about him because I didn't watch him in the leagues. But the point was, at that stage in their career when you said it as well, it wasn't true. By the way, if Isak goes to another level and becomes an even better footballer, then yeah, but you made the point at that moment. You didn't say in 5 years he'll be better. You said he's better now. So let's not try and twist it, because when you take a shot at the king, brother, don't fucking miss. This is an interesting comment. Luke Shaw was bad, Terry. He got given years to come right being English. Now, again, I don't like this notion. By certain Man United fans, maybe the English bias within them. For Man United Football Club, there's an element of yes and there's an element of no. I think there's always been a player in Luke Shaw, and I think that player is a centre back. I think he's a much better centre back than he is a left back. No. I actually really like him at centre back. I thought he was great today, up against one of the best strikers in the world. But now, look, Luke Shaw. Look, there's always been a player in Luke Shaw. Injuries have always been his biggest problem. But then again, yeah, of course, he's weight, but he's probably the best he's been for a long time. Mm-hmm. But Luke Shaw has suffered like a lot of players at Man United, like Pogba suffered, like Martial has suffered, like Rashford has suffered. He came in under LVG. He played for LVG, Jose, Oli, Ralph for a little while. Now he's got Ten Hag. You could argue there's probably some elements of similarity with Ten Hag and Van Gaal because of the Dutch connection. But this is Man United's problem. We have burnt through players because we've had no one overarching ideology of football that we wanted to play, meaning we were not buying particular types of football players to fit that, and you end up with this concoction and mess. So as much as some people giving him more time,
sound like Tottenham, Terry.
Yeah,
so exactly what it's like at Tottenham.
It is the same at all clubs that are not run well. Every club that isn't run well, that chops and changes its ideology of football, will always be a mess and will never ever create a brilliant team or a team that's consistent. You did under Poch, because for 4 or 5 years there was a consistent way of going, and then he wanted to put some cameras in, and Levy said no. It was all very, very weird why he ended up leaving, but there we go. Look, boys, I want to thank you all very much for coming on tonight. I know there was a lot to jump into. I know obviously Sunshine's busy, that he's got some pussy to deal with, So we'll let him get back to that pussy cat.
Hey. This is your mascot, Terry, man.
I like
Your
that. Look at
mascot,
that.
bro.
By the way, you know, we get a picture, and every time the Arsenal fans come on and say we're pussies, we put a picture of your cat up.
I'll bring him on, man.
I want to say to the viewers, remember, you can enter our raffle to win 2 tickets to the FA Cup final, plus £250 spending money from me. Unlimited entries you can put in. Scan the QR code on the screen or click in the link in the description below and go and enter yourself now. Boys, I want to thank you very, very much indeed. Viewers, my super chatters, you've been amazing. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you.